Of course, man.
Let's go. Amici del rock and roll, è con grande piacere che oggi ospito una band che il 7 di dicembre sarà al Legend Club di Milano, una band con una grandissima esperienza. Arrivano dalla Svezia, hanno un suono potentissimo. Sono gli Eclipse e con me c'è Victor. How's it going, man?
Very good, man. I'm sitting here in the tour bus. We are on tour and we're coming to Milan in about, what is it, 2 weeks, I think.
Yes, yes, yeah. December 7th, Legend
Yes.
Club. It's waiting for you. How much it's changed the idea of touring for you as a band that you have, a lot of experience on that. How much it's changed, in your opinion, not only the venues that, sometimes you might change, some brand new venues, some venues close up and that's a pity, but in terms of the whole organization and the whole process, how much has changed within the last years?
Wow. Yeah, I think, the sum total of it all remains the same. You go on tour and you sell tickets and you play music for people, then you have a good night together. I think that's the quintessential part. Uh, but everything else, sure, it has changed. And I think the way that concert goers are finding out about shows and stuff and how you do marketing and stuff, that's a very different animal these days, which I'm sure you're well aware of. But I mean, I think there was a time like we got to look back. It feels like it was, yesteryear, but COVID and all that kind of changed a lot too in terms of like how people buy tickets and how people plan ahead. So I guess we live in a different world now, but the good thing is that the good parts of a rock and roll concert remains the same, and it has been like that since, the whole genre kind of started.
I believe you. I mean the music still it's a big thing. But again, like you said, promotion, bringing people to the club is not
Yeah.
as easy as it was like back in the days. I mean, you need more promotion because the algorithm doesn't always reply the way you want to when you sponsorize or you advertise something. So a musician now also has to improve his knowledge about like promotion because even like promo press office they can do like this little back in the days their impact was heavier, so how do you behave and how do you balance being an artist and being sometimes a promoter, a video maker, a social media manager?
Right. I think for us, you know, w- we've had this discussion, and I mean, Eclipse is a band that Eclipse has been around since 1999, a touring band since 2013 or so. So, I mean, the world has changed a lot since then as well. But we kind of came up with the conclusion that we're having a good time in this band, and we enjoy playing, and we enjoy each other's company. And I think that's what we want to show, and that's what we want to promote through social media. We want to show people, you know, come here for a night and be a part of this, and also the music, of course. But um, it's just like, of course, there's a lot. If you think about it, there's a lot to think about. But if you just let it be what it is, and you let it be, you know, whatever you're trying to promote, be as honest and as truthful to how you feel about the entire thing as possible, then it's not really work. It's just like you're just letting people know how you're doing, you know. And I think that kind of works in terms of like bringing people to shows and bringing people. We're getting, people to sell tickets and all that stuff. So I mean, that's for us. That's not. It hasn't really been an issue. It's just a different way how the world operates. And it's a different way to sell tickets than it was back in like 2012 or 2002, you know?
For us in Italy, when we look at Sweden, it's like the promised land in terms of the way artists are treated, are supported through the government. I mean, I do have friends that they have kids and they have like young bands, and the government pay for their recordings.
Yeah,
So, I mean, this is it's sci-fi in Italy, if we consider that. How
right.
much do you think you have like so much experience, but how much do you think this kind of situation help the whole scene concentrating on music. Because if you have that kind of help, you can actually be a better musician because you only have to concentrate on several things like performing.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, for sure. Sorry. Uh, that it was essential for us. I think we're all from different generations, in Sweden, especially in this band. Um, there's always been that thing, like you just mentioned, that the government kind of sponsors kids to find practice spaces and studios that where you can record your music and stuff like that. And I think we all did that somehow. It's a very supportive, um, I guess, environment in Sweden in that sense. But it's not solely like I think there's also like there's a bit of a misunderstanding in it too. I think the support is there to kind of promote people to be who they want to be, which I think is fantastic. I think everyone deserves a shot at becoming the best version of themselves. If you want to play Dixie jazz in Sweden, I think there's a way for you to do that, which I think is fantastic. But rock and metal, obviously, as you mentioned, I think there's so many rock acts and metal acts that have come out of Sweden, and they've all gotten help too. But I think that's more of like it's sort of like a grant to get you going when you're young, and then as soon as you get over the cusp, it gets easier to operate on your own, which works. I mean, it does work. For us, it's been, you know, I think there are outside of the big cities, there are tons of practice spaces and studios that operate and are fully functional in all parts of the country, which I think is really cool.
This is great. You said that Eclipse in this tour will travel new places, new countries, and new cities too. How do you deal with the fact that maybe the environment you find yourself into is maybe different, also in terms of support for musician? My idea, my experience is that sometimes I've been places where performing music was kind of illegal, in
Mhm.
terms of, being accepted by the society and stuff like that. Obviously,
Mhm.
it's not 1940 anymore.
No,
But
right.
again, but again, in some countries, there is no much freedom, no much support, and no much space and room for music the way maybe we're used to find like in Sweden or UK or stuff like that. How do you deal when you find yourself in this situation? You feel like blessed, you feel guilty in a way for being such an important and touring band. How do you manage that? Maybe talking to fans about that.
I I think for us, the music is sort of like we go on tour. It's sort of like our way of sharing things with people that like what we do. We I think music has always been, like you mentioned, in some parts of the world, it's not really okay to play like death metal or whatever it may be. But I think music plays such a big role in that too. That it's to protest with music if you're in a country like that doesn't really accept you. It's really essential for it to be there anyway. For us. I guess it's just, we go on the road and we play these places. Obviously, there are different crowds and different ways to look at it, how a crowd acts. Like if we play, like we're going to play in Milan on a Sunday, obviously we know it's a Sunday and people probably have to go to work on Monday. So that's a different vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I think for us, it's never been, uh, we don't change ourselves depending on where we're playing. If you're going to an Eclipse show, it's always going to be an Eclipse show, and we're going to approach that the same way that we do if we're in the north of Norway or if we're in southern Argentina. Because hopefully that's what people want to see and experience. So we don't really change a lot in terms of like where we go. I know I have this. There was this one time we played in Japan right after COVID. It was 2022, and I think Japan still had the kind of COVID laws in effect. So the crowd was allowed to be at the concert, but they had to wear masks and glasses, and they were not allowed to speak because the obviously the virus spread through. Yeah. Um, so between every song, it would just be a hell of a lot of clapping, like really fast clapping. But no one said a word. No one sang along to the songs. It was like performing in a TV studio, which was really interesting. It was a very strange thing, but it was also very kind of I'll remember that to the day I die. Uh, and that was a different vibe, but we still did our thing, and it worked, and it was fun. And I think the people that came to the shows had a lot of fun too. So that's all that matters, really. I mean, there's really like, if you think about it, there are two kinds of music. It's the music that makes you think about your own life, and it's the music that makes you, yeah, kind of makes you disappear for a moment, in time. And no matter what you're after, I hope you're getting that at the show that you're going to. Because I think that's the important thing too. If you're having a rough week back home and you go to a show, maybe you could just like disappear into the music for like a good solid 90 minutes. And that will hopefully give you confidence heading into, whatever challenges you have up ahead.
That's great. But don't worry for your show in Milan because the day after, December 8th, it's holiday in Italy.
Oh, really?
So yes, yes. A lot of
Fantastic.
people don't have to work. So
Fantastic.
except except for me, I work at the radio. I'm gonna work as well, but I'll try my best to be at the show. Talking about music once again, Megalonium Part Two came out 2024. Obviously, there's a part one. Can we imagine a part three?
Well, not really. I mean, the story goes with Megalomanium. It was going to be a double album, just like, two records, one album. It still is, but we just kind of separated the release of the part two with a year. So we all like all the songs were written at the same time. Everything was recorded and produced at the same time. So I think we just had this idea, like many, many ideas and great ideas come once you sit down at a local tavern and have a few pints of beer. We were in Sydney at the time, and we had just finished or wrapped up our tour in Australia. So me, Magnus, and Eric sat down at a bar and started talking about the record because that's also the problem. We had a lot of songs that we wanted to release. Um, and we were just like, well, we can't really cut like out of 40 songs, how are we going to get down to 11 songs? Like, that's not going to be fun for anybody. So we just sat there and we started drawing on napkins and stuff. And it was just like, okay, maybe we could put these 11 songs on part one and then these 11 songs on parts two. And that was kind of the whole thing. Like, we just went with it and we talked to the label and we talked to our manager, and everyone seemed to be on board with it. So that was sort of a fun experiment. And also, I think at the same time, in this, we were talking about the differences today with the modern era of music and compared to how it was, back in the 90s when Guns N' Roses dropped Use Your Illusion. Um, the attention span isn't really there in the way we consume music anymore for a double record to be released. Not in this genre anyway. It feels more, it seemed like a better idea to drop, you know, the first record September 23, second record September 24. And here we are. But we are planning to go into the studio early next year and to start writing, the next record at some point. But we haven't done it yet.
Because in my opinion, you still have like 18 songs left from the first cut.
Correct. Correct. But
So
that's also interesting. I mean, I come from a different part of, or different, my way of writing or making music is very different to let's say Eric, who sings in the band. Um, he produces records for a living, and for a lot of many great artists. And I think when I joined the ranks in this band, I just thought like we had so many good songs that we were scrapping from previous records and stuff like that. I was like, but this song, we have to keep this song because this is a great song. It just doesn't fit, with this record that we're making. But he has this view of songs where it's like I think it's healthy now that you tend to look at it. If you make 40 songs for a double record and you have 20 songs that are going to go to waste, um, he looks at songs like they're just a box of bananas, you know? If you don't release them, they're just gonna wilt. And that's it. And I agree with that now because when you make music, especially rock and roll, I think it's very much in the moments of where you are in time as a band, as a person, as a human being. It's a reflection of what's happening in the world outside, but also on the inside. So I think if you make a song back in, you know, if you wrote it back in 2011 and it wasn't released in 2011 or 2012, I don't know if you're going to feel different about it, you know, if you put it out now, unless you're making like a box set. But you know what I mean?
It's great image. You're gonna throw a lot of good bananas to the crowd every night.
That's it.
This
Yeah, that's it.
this this is the
Yeah,
idea. Okay,
yeah.
very last question. You said that Eclipse concert could be a very good medicine if you had like a bad week or a bad day or something like that. Maybe touring is not always easy because sometimes personal issue can come along and come across your daily routine also on tour. When you're on tour and you're finding like you need an extra strength, an extra input. Is there anything or any song you listen to or anything like a ritual you used to do to warm yourself up? Like, okay, I had a bad day. Traveling was hard. I got issues at home. Uh, I need a driving force to get up on stage and give like 120%.
We typically like to obviously when you're playing many shows in a row in a row on the road, we want to kind of flick that switch where you feel like you're 15 again and you're just heading into playing a gig or something. And our medicine for that is always listening to the music that kind of, you know, was there at the time. This tour, we've been binging The Who, you know, live at Leeds, live at Kilburn, watching old documentaries. Uh, it has gotten to the point where we were playing a show last night in Ludwigsburg, and we're all kind of adapting these personalities based on the madness that is the Who. Like Keith Moon, like Ade, who's playing drums in the band. He he went on stage last night and he did like a somersault. So he came out and did that's a very Keith Moon thing to do. He just ran up on stage and did a somersault and then ran behind the drums. And that felt like we're basically harnessing that energy of the Who. And I think that is the thing. That's the medicine that we have. Before a show, we're always blasting AC/DC or the Who or Deep Purple, um, and listening to the greats. And because really, I think that's also what rock and metal is. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, and we're out to pay homage to that as much as it is about forging new paths heading into the future. So that's for us. That always works. And ton of sleep as well. That's also good. I'm lucky. I don't have many hardships being on tour. Worst it's ever been. I'm nursing a little bit of a cold right now. That's why I'm sounding the way I'm sounding. But that's as worse as it's been ever for me, and that's not bad. So I think we're all surviving. We're all thriving.
So if you're sleeping good, you said you're not gonna be like 100% the Who, no hotel rooms issues and stuff like that.
That's the thing. That's the good thing about the tour bus. Our tour manager is very smart. He's like, well, if we get them hotel rooms now, they're just going to trash the hotel rooms. So let's keep them on the bus. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay, Victor, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Can't wait to see you performing in Milan, December 7th, Legend Club. Take care of yourself and the band until that day, and then we're gonna party and celebrate it.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrea. Pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.
All
Bye.
right. Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao.